This is AgriCountry, brought to you in part by Alice Chalmers and your nearby Alice Chalmers dealer. And here's your host for AgriCountry, Ed Johnson.
Good morning, and so good to have you with us here for AgriCountry. We're going to begin today's show by sharing with you how you buy a pickup truck. We're going to go to Jack Maxton Chevrolet in Columbus and visit with the sales manager, Paul Manning. And then travel clear over to Western Ohio to the Brown Swiss operation, the good one, of Ken Adding. That's in Mercer County. And also today share with you a real concern of many farm families across the state of Ohio about the new entrance standards at Ohio State. Welcome to AgriCountry.
Your Alice Chalmers dealer is offering some powerful reasons to buy an AC 5030 or 5020 diesel-powered tractor. Both of these mighty 25 and 31 horsepower Alice Chalmers diesels give you 12 forward speeds plus differential lock. And right now you'll find big savings on diesel power at your nearby Alice Chalmers dealer's place. This week on AgriCountry, we take you right to Columbus, Ohio, where Jack Maxton Chevrolet, Route 161, just about a mile west of I-71. And we begin today's show with our guest, the general sales manager here at Jack Maxton Chevrolet, Denny Dotson. Denny, nice to be here. Denny, we saw some figures released several weeks ago that there also may be an increased interest once again in that full-size automobile. Is that happening here?
The full-size car is definitely a hot item right now. It really is. They didn't manufacture too many, so the inventories on dealer lots are not very good, and the mileage is pretty good on them now. So yeah, there's a great increasing demand for the full-size car again.
What's been the response to the small pickup truck, that little guy?
That little guy is coming into his own. It's really the hottest production item that Chevrolet has other than the Camaro, but that small pickup truck is the truck of the future here today. It's a hot one.
Denny, nice to have you on with us, and we want to go from here onto the back of the lot of Jack Maxton Chevrolet, where we're going to visit with Paul Manning, who is the truck sales manager here, and talk about pickup trucks. Paul, you know, we used to think of the farmer as the only guy that had the pickup truck, and now you go any place in Columbus or wherever, and pickup trucks are very popular. Somebody comes in to buy a pickup truck. Where do you begin with them?
Well, I think the first thing that has to be dealt with is the most extreme condition under which that vehicle is going to be used.
So if he's going to haul wood on the weekend, he better be prepared and not look at one of those little guys, maybe.
I believe you're right on that, Ed. I would not recommend the small truck for wood hauling. If you fill the box completely up to the edge of the bed rail, you're going to be hauling about 2,500 to 3,000 pounds, and the truck is only rated for 1,500.
City people usually buy what size?
Well, they have leaned toward that small truck and the half-ton conventional size truck because it doubles as an automobile for them.
And a half-ton he could take to the woods for firewood?
Oh, yeah, he could take a half-ton to the woods for firewood. He can dump his trash. He can move a friend's refrigerator or something like that.
What's the most popular size for the farmer that comes here?
Well, now, the farmer requires something a good bit more stable and heavy-duty, and I would say the most popular size is a 3/4 ton, very closely followed by the 1-ton model.
Did he look at the heavy-duty springs?
Oh, yes, they definitely consider that because load-carrying capability is of the utmost importance to a farmer.
Let's talk about on our right is the two-wheel drive. If a farmer's looking at a two-wheel drive, you're the expert. What do you recommend?
Well, I would recommend a gross vehicle weight on that two-wheel drive truck of 8,500 pounds or better. The easiest way to tell if the truck is equipped that way is to open the gas tank flap and see if it says it requires unleaded fuel. If it does not, if it burns regular, then he is in fact dealing with heavy-duty 3/4 ton, and that is the most stout 3/4 ton in the industry, and it's the type of truck that will haul up to 4,000 pounds in payload.
How should one decide, Paul, whether it's going to go with a regular engine or a diesel? Because we're looking at diesels for 83.
Yes, correct. That's a difficult question to answer. The only question, the farmer himself, or the individual for that matter, has to weigh the expense of the diesel. It is a precision piece of machinery, and it does cost more money. The expense of the diesel in relation to his operation, how many miles he's going to run on the truck. Of course, the diesel is a serious consideration when you need a tax write-off, because the expense of the engine can run as high as $1,500 or $1,600 over a gasoline V8 with comparable equipment. The diesel, the mileage is going to more than double in any situation. It's going to more than double. For instance, in my type of truck, the Chevrolet truck, we have the 454 gasoline V8 that's going to run between 5 and 7 miles per gallon when it's used in utility. The diesel generally tows. I say generally because I have reports back from people who have purchased them. They haul full capacity between 12 and 14 miles to the gallon.
Quite a difference. Now let's talk about towing and hauling. Let's talk about hitches, so forth. If a fellow is out on the farm, 3/4 ton truck, and he's going to be doing a lot of pulling, whether it's gravity wagons or whatever, should he just automatically be thinking 4-wheel drive?
Yes, because a 4-wheel drive offers a 2-speed transfer case. He can get himself out of almost any situation by reducing that transfer case to low range. That will also double or perhaps triple the amount of towing capability or at low speeds, towing capability and the hauling capability.
But if he's looking at 3/4 ton, 2-wheel drive, then he'd better beef up the hitch?
Yeah, well, he doesn't really have to beef anything up, but he ought to seriously consider, for heavy work, he ought to seriously consider a manual transmission over the automatic transmission.
And he stay with a gooseneck hitch and a 2-wheel drive and better justify? Or again, are you recommending 4-wheel drive when you're talking gooseneck?
No, you can tow pretty well with a gooseneck and 2-wheel drive. In fact, you can do just about as well with that, either 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. The gooseneck style of hitch incorporates better weight distribution over the whole truck, so the truck can pick up a considerable amount of weight that trailer is holding transferred through the neck.
Paul, can you tell when a pickup truck is brought in for a trade-in, can you tell if it's been misused?
Well, you certainly can. The easiest way for a prospective purchaser to spot a misused truck is look at the tires, especially the fronts, and see how they wear. If they're wearing extremely on the inside, the guy has had bad rims on it, or chances are he's just overloaded it. You can open the hood and look at the engine. If it's got oil and grease all over the outside instead of the inside, then it's been misused. Look underneath it and look at the transmission pan. Again, oil and grease is the giveaway. The more pressure emitted on that drivetrain, the more it's going to spew fluid. And of course, then you can look at rear tires and springs. One of the ways to tell if a fella has misused it, or at least contemplated misusing, is how many helper springs he's added on. Look at the floor of the bed. If it's a vehicle that doesn't have a bed, why doesn't it? What happened to the bed? And of course, you can always look at the tailgate. If the tailgate is bent, out of line, misused, warped, then it definitely has been abused.
Paul, certainly nice to have you as a guest on AgriCountry.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Paul Manning, sales manager for the truck division, Jack Maxton Chevrolet, and of course talking to you at their location on Route 161 at the east edge of Worthington, Ohio. When you think combine, I want you to think Gleaner. Remember that your Alice Chalmers dealer has both the rotary and conventional in 6 different sizes. The Gleaner gives you more capacity, more productivity, and more value for your dollars invested. See your Alice Chalmers dealer today. Welcome to beautiful Western Ohio. We're at the family farm this week of Ken and Irma Eiding. We're going to be visiting also with their sons Tim and Nick, who are involved in this dairy operation. But also we'll talk with their daughter Vicki. And we're going to take you from this beautiful lawn and head out to the pasture field. And first visit there with Ken. Ken, certainly nice to be over in this tip of All-Glaze County, southwestern corner. Excellent brown Swiss herd. In fact, I understand one of the finest in the country. Tell our viewers about it.
We have had a good Swiss herd here, Ed. Our herd had been the top production and type herd in the United States for the past 2 years. And our production records have showed that we had a herd average around 16,400 of milk and 679 pounds of butter fat this year.
How long you been milking brown Swiss?
I've had a lifetime in brown Swiss.
How long does it take to build a herd that's tops in the country?
Well, I say if you set your goals, next year you set them higher.
Competition's always there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Now, have you done this through AI?
We follow AI very closely. We've had bonded success in AI.
And of course, for you viewers, we're talking about artificial insemination, and you can see that these cows are just as wild. I don't understand it.
Strictly docile Swiss.
How much are you concerned about all the hassle in Washington about milk supports?
Ed, I'm concerned. I don't know what quite to say, but we went through a period like this 15, 18 years ago, and I think it'll work its way out again.
Well, we certainly hope so. Talking about some of those better cows that you've got here in the herd, Ken, those that have helped put you at the top.
We've had fortunate here to have 3 cows that are National Honor Roll record cows. One is a class leader as a senior yearling. She's milked 16,700 of milk and 754 pounds of butter fat as a senior yearling, which has put her tops in her class in the United States. We also have a cow here called Laddie Beth that has 6 consecutive records over 1,000 pounds of butter fat, and she is one of the top production brown Swiss in the United States. And she has, right now, she has 174,000 pounds of milk out and 8,400 pounds of butter fat in her first 8 lactations. She is predominantly a 5% tester, which really helps you make hay with butterfat production.
Talking about making hay, let's talk about that. Some alfalfa here that's just absolutely beautiful. What's your secret in raising excellent alfalfa?
Our secret in raising excellent alfalfa, after last year, with all the rains, we came through pretty good this spring. Our alfalfa crops looked good, although we had to plow up a certain amount of it and put it back to corn, what we thought was real good, but it just didn't weather the storm last year and all the water. But our new seedings look real good and show a lot of promise.
Your pastures seem to look excellent. Do you top dress the pastures?
We sure do. We hit this with a nitrogen and phosphorus and potash fertilizer as soon as the snow's off in the spring of the year. We want this pasture.
Now, will you hit it more than one time a year?
Not this one, Ed. This pasture is about a 5-week pasture for the cows in the spring of the year, and the rest, just they're exercising a lot the rest of the summer. Oh, they get a little bit out of it, but we're going to bring other feed into them right out here and feed them to get this top production.
I see you have a few sows over here.
We carry a few sows. I like to play with them. I love to farrow them. And nothing makes me feel better to see a sow with a nice big bunch of pigs.
How many sows do you have?
We carry around 14 sows.
Now, will you sell the pigs as feeder pigs, or you feed them on out?
We feed them on out. We sell them twice a year. 2 batches of hoes twice a year we do.
Well, Ken, nice to be right out here in the pasture field with you, and we're going to go from here and visit with Tim in the milking parlor, and a different setup in the milking parlor that we've shared with any of you here on AgriCountry. Tim, to come into this barn brings back a lot of good old memories because we use the stanchions back home. How does it happen that you and Dad have not switched to a herringbone or some kind of a parlor setup?
Well, Ed, most of the people that have herringbone setups milk 50, 60, 70, sometimes 100, 125 cows. Here, with the herd that we have milking anywhere between 25 and 35 cows during the year, we feel that the cost that we would put into a herringbone wouldn't justify the number of cows we have. But with the stanchion parlor that we're working with, we can feed our cows the way we want to. We can spend a little bit more time with them. And if there's any cow that needs a little particular attention at the time, we can keep her in and work with her.
Tim, we'd been keeping track of you several years ago. I believe 77, 78, Vice President of the Ohio FFA. What have you been doing since then?
Well, since then, I spent 2 years going to Ohio State University. I went to Lima Branch campus of Ohio State. I commuted back and forth. That way I could spend some time here working on the farm and also getting an education. During my second year of Ohio State, I went to Missouri Auction School and become an auctioneer. And I went to work for a local auctioneer by the name of Eugene Myers, and I worked for a group called Modern Associates selling purebred dairy cattle. The last couple years, we've been running anywhere between 100 and 125 25 sales a year, so it's been keeping me busy auctioneering as well as here on the dairy farm.
What's it like to go to one of those auctioneering schools?
It's interesting. Believe me, there's a lot of noise going on. There's always some chatter, and it's a good business experience also. They teach you a few things, you know, dealing with people, working with people, along with the auctioneering chain, and how to become a good auctioneer.
Tim, certainly nice to be here with you, and we want to go from here in where they milk the cows now. We're going to go out and visit with Nick, where he takes care of some of the younger calves here at the farm. Nick, some good-looking calves out here. What kind of ration do you go with the young brown Swiss?
Well, we feed some pellets here and oats, and our next ration is oats, corn, and some other kind of pellets we feed. We just feed those two rations, a lot of good quality hay and some water. And come in here maybe 3 times a day and feed them and take good care of them.
Nick, we're in the haymaking season. Now, how do you put up the hay here? Still in the square bales, or have you gone to the large bales?
We believe in the square bales.
How many bales will you put up here a year? Any idea?
6,000 bales we usually put out, 6, 7, as many as we can get in the barn.
A lot of good old-fashioned hard work, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well,
but it builds young men, my dad always said.
Yeah.
You believe that?
Dad says that, too.
Dad says that, too. I love it. Tell us a little bit about your 4-H work, Nick. Now, I know you're involved in the FFA, the Minster FFA, and we want to get that in, but also very active in 4-H. What's the name of your club?
Minster Livestock.
Now, will you be taking heifers, or do you take some of the mature cows, or perhaps both?
I take the heifers, I do. Usually year-old heifers, senior calves, and Vicky takes the younger ones, but learn a lot from that. You know, it's just a little county fair we usually go to.
And that fair is what?
Auglaize.
Auglaize County Fair. We're going to get that in there. How much does the family show and some of the other open shows, Nick?
We go to the state show, Ohio State Show, and we go to the state fair. And like last year, we showed 2 animals at the Eastern National Show. And the heifer was 3rd up there. And she was 3rd to Ohio State Fair and 1st at the Ohio State Show.
Well, Nick, nice to visit with you right here in the heifer barn. And we're going to go from here out to picnic table and really talk with the one who counts in this operation, because we're going to talk with Irma, because without Mom at home on the farm, things just can't happen. Irma, we've got strawberries, we've got the garden. It looks like you enjoy spending time out of doors.
Yes, I do. I like to work with my garden and the flowers and keeping the lawn in shape.
How much canning will you do this summer?
I like to put up a lot of sweet corn, which we have out in the field. And I like to put up a lot of peas. Usually it takes me through the whole year. And it really helps a lot with the family.
Families kind of enjoy things out of the garden too, don't they?
Yes, that's the best thing there is out of the garden, I tell you.
What about strawberries?
Oh, yes, they're excellent. And I like to can those too. But I like them fresh best.
Now, does Ken and Tim and Nick get you involved once things are really happening, haymaking time and planting time? Are you often heading off to town to pick up parts or pick up this or that?
Yes, when they have a break or something, I'll go out and pick up their parts for them and things like that. And bring lunch out to them and different things like that they have me to do.
Vicky, brother mentioned something about you down in the calf barn. Nice to have you out here in the yard with us. How old are you?
12.
And what year of school?
6th grade.
Where do you go to school?
Minster, local.
What do you like best there?
Recess.
Oh, I was afraid of that. Likes the recess better than anything else. You're also in 4-H. What's the club?
Minster Livestock.
So you and Nick in the same club?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, what would you be taking this year to the Auglaize County Fair?
A calf.
How many years you been taking a calf?
This is my 3rd year.
Well, it's nice to be here in what they call the bottleneck or the thumb of Auglaize County, the southwestern corner, as we've been at the Eiting family farm, talking with Ken and talking with Irma, and of course, Vicky's here, but in the barn talking with Tim, and down the calf barn talking with Nick.
The new 8000 series tractors from Alice Chalmers deliver 360-degree visibility and a sleek new styling with big, quiet, comfortable cabs. Enter from either side and carry enough fuel for a day's work. And here's the new 390 corn planter, available in 8, 12, 16, or 24-row units for accurate, conventional, or no-till planting. See your Alice Chalmers dealer today.
We welcome now to AgriCountry the incoming president of the Ohio Vocational Agricultural Teachers Association, Craig Wiggin. He teaches at the Riverdale High School. That's up in Hardin County, about 19 miles north of Canton, Ohio. We have a situation, Craig, in Ohio right now where officials at Ohio State have changed the admission standards. Simply means that we've got students who would want to be enrolled in the College of Agriculture, Home Economics, and Natural Resources who are now unable to do that. What were the changes in the standards?
Well, Ed, what the university's done is to put in some more requirements, or to strengthen the requirements for an unconditional admittance to the university. This all includes 4 units of English, 3 units of math, 2 units of each of the following, including science, social science, and foreign language, and 1 unit of visual and performing arts, and then on top of that, 1 unit from any of those which we've already listed.
I think we want to make it very clear that we're certainly not opposed to quality education. Aren't we faced with the fact that there's just not that much time in a high school day?
That's right, Ed. When students are trying to meet these 15-unit requirements and trying to take vocational agriculture, which may take a period and a half or 2 periods in some cases of each school day, it's almost impossible for them to enroll in anything besides those which the university has specified.
You vocational agricultural teachers have just conducted a statewide survey. You've got quite a pack of information that has come back to you, so that would indicate to me, boy, we've got a very critical problem.
That's for sure. We've reviewed these just this past weekend, and there's some cases where departments are losing as many as 25 to 35 students. Well, not every department in the state of vocational agriculture is losing that many, and some have indicated hardly any pressure at all to a certain degree as yet. But we feel this is going to kind of snowball, and probably every VOAG department in the state is going to have some effect upon them in enrollment, because students are trying to meet these requirements.
Isn't the foreign language requirement one of the real hang-ups that we have?
It makes it tough. A lot of schools at present time are not offering a full 2 years in any one foreign language, and that also cuts into the scheduling day.
What do you vocational agriculture teachers hope to do about this problem?
Well, we're working right now, along with you, with an action committee to try to meet with university officials to allow them to relook at what they've done. We don't want to decrease the quality of education or the quality of student which they want to enroll, but we would like to give the students who are 13 and 14 years of age as freshmen a choice of what classes they would like to take.
Our guest on AgriCountry, Craig Wiggin, incoming president of the Ohio Vocational Agricultural Teachers, of course, a teacher himself. We have a very severe problem in agriculture and agribusiness. Some of the ag college officials have indicated to us that enrollment could drop by as much as 1/3. We need your support, whether it's a postcard or a letter, and send that to ABN TV, 1819 West Lane Avenue, Columbus, Ohio 43221. So that we can sit down with OSU officials and try to change a very severe problem in agriculture across Ohio.
Nice to have you today for AgriCountry. Join us next week as we continue to salute June, as Dairy Month will take you to the Holmes Cheese Company at Millersburg. Then we're going to take you to far northwest Ohio to the tomato operation of Carl Neese and Sons. And also next week we begin our grain marketing seminar with Greg Noble of the Ohio Farmers Grain and Supply Association at Fostoria. See you next week for AgriCountry.
Thank you for joining us today for AgriCountry with Ed Johnson, brought to you in part by Alice Chalmers and your local Alice Chalmers dealer. AgriCountry recognizes farm families who produce daily our abundant food supply.